Hey, Cowboys Nation! Today, we're diving into one of the most talked about moves the team has made recently, a decision that fans had been anticipating all season but still lands with a mix of relief, frustration, and plenty of debate after a year where the defense consistently struggled to hold its ground. The Dallas Cowboys officially parted ways with defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. From the first whistle of the season, cracks in the defensive unit were impossible to ignore. Small miscommunications and delayed reactions escalated into glaring problems, leaving opponents with repeated scoring opportunities and the Cowboys in a constant state of playing catch-up. Fans watched each game with growing concern, seeing drives slip away and points mount, knowing that the defense could not sustain the kind of performance required to compete at the highest level week after week. The statistics painted a grim picture. The Cowboys allowed opponents to score over 30 points in multiple games, with a few matchups even seeing totals creep into the mid-40s. It was never just a matter of tough opponents. The defensive schemes repeatedly failed to adjust to the talent on the field. Personnel changes did little to stem the bleeding, as the core issues seemed structural and systemic rather than isolated to specific matchups. Against teams like the Giants, Chargers, Vikings, and Lions, defensive collapses became recurring narratives, leaving the offense scrambling to compensate for mistakes that could have been prevented. The frustration went beyond losing games. It was about a lack of control. The sense that the team's fate was slipping away due to repeated breakdowns on one side of the ball. Looking closer at the numbers, the season becomes even more alarming. Over 500 points allowed throughout the campaign set a new record for the franchise, an unprecedented high in Dallas history. Historically, no Cowboys team had crossed that threshold, and to see it happen in a season meant to show progress was jarring, even when considering eras with different rules and styles of play. Few teams have allowed such a volume of points, from yards allowed per game to pass coverage, rushing defense, and situational stops. The Cowboys ranked near the bottom across virtually every measurable category, week after week, delivered highlight reels of defensive errors, missed tackles, blown coverages, and repeated breakdowns that opponents exploited without hesitation. The team's inability to adjust in real time became one of the most visible and frustrating narratives of the season. The decision to part ways with Eberflus, however, is only part of the story. While he bore much of the criticism, the issues went deeper than coaching. Roster limitations, injuries, mismatches, and underperforming units all compounded the difficulties. A coordinator can only work with the players available, and when execution falters or personnel struggles, even the best schemes can crumble. Yet leadership, adaptability, and communication on the field remain fundamental responsibilities. The inability to make timely adjustments left fans watching games that felt increasingly out of reach, even when the offense delivered strong performances. The season served as a stark reminder that NFL success depends not just on talent, but on strategy, preparation, and the capacity to respond under pressure. Areas where the Cowboys' defense fell short. The impact of such a historically poor defensive season extends across the organization. Replacing a single coach is just the start. The challenge lies in reassessing the defensive approach, evaluating personnel, and ensuring past mistakes are not repeated. The Cowboys now face a critical choice in hiring a new defensive coordinator, someone capable not only of implementing an effective scheme, but also of inspiring, developing, and maximizing the talent already on the roster. Previous attempts to stabilize the defense have failed to produce consistent results, highlighting the importance of this next hire. Fans are eager to see whether the front office will conduct a meticulous search or rely on familiar names, knowing that a misstep could trigger another season of disappointment. The pressure to find a proven, adaptable leader who can restore balance and competitiveness is immense. Offensively, the Cowboys showed flashes of brilliance that made defensive shortcomings even more noticeable. In games where quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers performed at elite levels, the defense repeatedly allowed points that erased any advantage. The imbalance between offense and defense forced the team into catch-up mode too often, highlighting just how critical defensive consistency is to winning games. Every defensive lapse was magnified, and each opponent found ways to exploit the weaknesses that went unaddressed. This contrast made the decision to move on from Eberflus not only understandable but necessary. Without a competent defensive unit, no offense, no matter how skilled, can consistently carry a team to victory in the NFL. Looking back at Eberflus' career, there were reasons for optimism when he first arrived. Past experience as a passing game coordinator and linebackers coach suggested he could bring structure and expertise to the Cowboys' defense. Successful stints in Chicago and Indianapolis showed he could craft effective units under the right circumstances, yet translating those successes to the unique challenges of Dallas roster. This season proved difficult. What worked in other contexts failed to materialize here, and the lack of timely adjustments revealed the difficulty of relying solely on past achievements as a predictor of current results. While external factors certainly played a role, the results were clear. Change was unavoidable, with the firing now official. The conversation shifts immediately to the future. How will the Cowboys approach this critical search for a new defensive coordinator? Will experience take precedence, or will innovation and adaptability lead the way? Fans and analysts alike are dissecting potential candidates, debating who could realistically revitalize a historically struggling unit. A successful hire will need tactical acumen, the ability to communicate effectively, and the leadership to unify a diverse group of players under a clear philosophy. The pressure is high, as the next coordinator could shape the trajectory of the team for multiple seasons. Strategic vision and leadership will be crucial in transforming a unit that has struggled to maintain consistency into one capable of contending at a high level. The process of rebuilding the defense will go beyond strategy. It will touch every facet of the unit. Every level from the defensive line to linebackers to the secondary requires careful evaluation and deliberate development. The front seven must establish control at the line of scrimmage, disrupting running lanes and pressuring quarterbacks. Linebackers must balance coverage responsibilities with stopping the run, while the secondary needs improved communication, gap discipline, and consistency. This is not a job for one coordinator to fix overnight. It will demand precise planning, clear vision, and rigorous execution across the roster. The Cowboys now face an opportunity to redefine the identity of their defense, but it will require patience, leadership, and a methodical approach to development. Fan expectations are naturally high, and the front office faces immense pressure to execute a thorough search. Rushed or limited decisions in the past have led to mixed results, but this is a chance to conduct a deliberate evaluation of multiple candidates, assessing track records and leadership qualities. A successful hire will bring immediate improvement while laying a foundation for long-term stability and competitiveness. The right coordinator can transform not only schemes but also culture, instilling discipline, accountability, and a sense of identity that has been missing from the defensive unit as the Cowboys turn their attention to rebuilding the defense. The focus shifts to developing a sustainable identity that can carry the team through the next season and beyond. Finding a new coordinator is just the beginning. The real work lies in aligning the roster with a cohesive philosophy that addresses every weakness exposed this past year. Young players who have shown flashes of potential must be nurtured and guided, while veterans need clear direction and accountability to ensure consistency. The coaching staff will need to establish clear expectations, build trust, and implement a culture where preparation and execution are non-negotiable. Without this foundation, even the most talented roster risks falling short under pressure. The challenges extend beyond play calling. Situational football, communication, and in-game adjustments are all critical aspects where the previous staff struggled. A strong defensive leader must anticipate opponent strategies, adjust quickly to changing conditions, and maintain discipline across the field. Each missed tackle, blown coverage, or misaligned position magnified the team's deficiencies and demonstrated the importance of execution. The new coordinator's ability to instill a mindset of awareness and precision could make the difference between a defense that folds under pressure and one that controls the pace of the game. Dallas has the talent, but it requires the right leadership to convert potential into consistent performance. The contrast between the offense and defense last season also underscores a key lesson. Balance is essential. Quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers performed at levels that could have won games. Yet the defense repeatedly failed to protect leads and maintain momentum. Without cohesion, one unit's excellence can be nullified by another's shortcomings. The upcoming season will test whether the Cowboys can create a defense capable of complementing a potent offense, ensuring that hard-earned yardage and scoring drives are not wasted. The new defensive framework will need to integrate seamlessly with the offense, supporting ball control, managing clock, and preventing big plays from derailing success. Evaluating personnel will be equally critical. The team must identify strengths and weaknesses at every level: line, linebackers, and secondary and build depth where gaps were exposed. Injuries, matchups, and situational football all demand adaptable, prepared players. The right coach will prioritize player development, finding ways to enhance individual skills while maintaining cohesion across the unit. Coordination between coaches and players will be key to ensuring that talent translates into victories rather than highlight reels of missed opportunities. Building a culture of accountability will require leadership that resonates both in practice and on game day. The psychological component cannot be overlooked. After a season where defensive failures dominated headlines, players must regain confidence in their abilities and the team's system. A new coordinator must instill belief, clarity, and resilience, demonstrating that the defense can respond under pressure and overcome adversity. Mental toughness, discipline, and preparation will be just as important as physical execution. Establishing a culture of accountability while empowering players to perform at their peak is essential to bridging the gap between potential and performance. In addition, adaptability is a non-negotiable attribute for the next defensive leader. The NFL is dynamic, and the ability to adjust to opposing offenses in real time is crucial. Last season, predictable schemes and slow responses contributed to repeated breakdowns. The Cowboys need a coordinator who can evaluate tendencies, adjust formations, and optimize matchups on the fly. Every missed adjustment in the previous year allowed opponents to exploit weaknesses, and the next season will require a proactive approach where preparation meets real-time decision-making. This adaptability will define whether the defense is reactive or commanding, shaping outcomes in critical situations. The coaching hire will also influence the broader culture of the team. A defensive coordinator who communicates effectively and demonstrates leadership sets the tone not just for the unit, but for the entire organization. Respect, accountability, and consistent standards can ripple across the locker room, impacting preparation, practice habits, and in-game focus. Conversely, a misaligned philosophy or lack of cohesion could perpetuate the struggles seen last season. The stakes are high. The right hire could transform not only the defensive statistics, but also the overall team identity, instilling a mindset where success is expected and failure is analyzed and corrected efficiently. Looking forward, the Cowboys must also consider how to integrate analytics, film study, and modern strategic approaches into the defensive system. The NFL has evolved, and successful defenses are now defined as much by preparation and anticipation as by raw talent. Coaches who can leverage data, study tendencies, and apply insights to practice and game plans provide a competitive edge. This holistic approach requires collaboration, communication, and a shared vision between coaches and players. It is not enough to react. The defense must proactively dictate the pace, force errors, and create opportunities for turnovers that swing games in their favor. Before we roll on, subscribe to Cowboys Wire News, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Your support keeps the Dallas Cowboys updates coming. Tell us what you think in the comments. In an astonishing turn of events that has left the Dallas Cowboys locker room buzzing, head coach Brian Schottenheimer reportedly made a dramatic move immediately following the team's latest game. Sources close to the organization described the decision as unexpected and bold, sparking rumors that the coach may be considering a complete shakeup of his coaching strategy or even personnel. Eyewitnesses say Schottenheimer was seen emphatically slamming his hand on the table during a post-game meeting, a gesture that insiders claim symbolized his frustration and determination to enforce immediate changes. While the specifics remain murky, speculation is rampant that this could involve a reorganization of key offensive roles. Some analysts suggest that Schottenheimer might be preparing to alter his approach to the team's play calling, potentially shifting responsibilities among quarterbacks and receivers in a way that could redefine the Cowboys' offensive identity. Others whisper that certain veteran players may be on notice, with the coach signaling that underperformance will no longer be tolerated, adding fuel to the fire. Teammates reportedly appeared stunned and uncertain during the meeting, with several sources noting that the mood in the locker room shifted from frustration to apprehension in a matter of minutes. The intensity of Schottenheimer's actions has prompted fans and commentators alike to speculate whether this is a strategic masterstroke or a sign of internal turbulence. Sports pundits are already weighing in, debating whether such a high-profile, aggressive stance from a head coach could galvanize the team or backfire under the intense spotlight of the NFL. One thing is clear: Brian Schottenheimer's bold move has ensured that the Cowboys are now at the center of a swirling storm of questions and speculation. Every press conference, every practice, and every snap from this point forward will be analyzed for signs of the ripple effects from this post-game decision. Whether it marks the start of a new era for Dallas or a controversial chapter in Schottenheimer's tenure remains to be seen, but the entire football world is watching, waiting for the next development in what could be one of the most talked about coaching moments of the season. That's a wrap from Cowboys Wire News. For breaking Cowboys updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Tell us your take in the comments.